Greetings, my friends and enemies, and welcome back to Petia's Miscellaneous Melange. So, originally, I was going to make another video much sooner, except immediately after posting the previous video, I came down with a head cold, and so today is the first day I feel reasonably confident that I will not burst into a coughing fit in the middle of recording my voiceover. So, today we're doing another speed paint because I have yet to figure out how to make other types of content. I tried to make a playlist video and then YouTube told me that half of the songs on the playlist are copyrighted in a way that prevents the video from being visible to anybody on the internet. So I spent a lot of time on that playlist and I'm still kind of mad about it, but it's okay. Copyright is just something that I can't fight single-handedly. But yeah, so speed paint. So today we are going to be watching a speed paint of a commission I did for a friend of mine. It was a commission for one of her friends, and so I was commissioned to draw the characters Asahi and Osamu from the anime and manga Haikyuu, which I like a normal amount and have liked a normal amount for several years now. And I was commissioned to draw them cooking together, so the first thing I did was Google pictures of couples cooking together, and then I found a pose that I liked, but it wasn't perfect because the original photograph is of a heterosexual couple with a significant height difference. And I needed to draw two characters who are basically the same, taller than usual height. So I messed with the sketch for a while, sent the sketch off to my friend for approval. My friend approved it, and then I inked and colored it much in the usual way. But who are these characters anyway? Asahi and Osamu are two characters who are, I would say, fairly prominent tertiary characters in the story. They have their own arcs, but they're not the focus of the narrative most of the time. And in the canon narrative, they don't interact a whole lot besides playing against each other in the volleyball games, because Haikyuu is a story about people playing volleyball. And so you might be wondering, how can somebody ship two characters who barely interact or don't interact at all? And I think that it's fun and interesting to ship characters who don't have a whole lot of interaction if those characters are clearly defined as characters themselves, and there is a potential that they could get along if they ever were to interact at length. I think that is the main appeal of things like crossovers. One of my favorite fanfics of all time is a fanfiction in which the characters from the anime Yuri on Ice and the characters from Ouran High School Host Club meet at a party and become friends. And it's incredible. It is extremely funny and very sweet. It's called Friendship is Magic by Afrai on the Archive of Our Own, and I recommend it for everybody. And some people take these crossover ships a step further. And my friend Jess single-handedly pioneered a crossover ship between Miyuki Kazuya from the baseball-themed anime and manga Ace of the Diamond and Sakura Koshi from Haikyuu, and that Jess decided that these two characters could be a good ship together and wrote like at least 10 fanfictions of them being a very good ship together. And so reading those fics was actually what got me interested in reading and watching Ace of the Diamond in the first place, and I ended up really enjoying it. And I really enjoyed this character that just decided to ship with Sakura Koshi because just thought that the two of them could get along very well, and then they did in the world that Jess created single-handedly because Jess is a genius and a very good friend of mine. I've seen people on like Twitter sometimes and like TikTok who would be like, oh my god, people ship this about pretty much any ship that is not in the top 10 most popular ships on AO3. And I think that is a narrow-minded and limited way of looking at the shipping landscape, especially the fandom with as many characters, as many interesting and well-developed characters as Haikyuu. Like, I've seen people be surprised that someone ships Ken Hina, which is unreasonable considering that Ken and Hinata are probably like are one of the strongest like romantically coded dynamics in the story. But some people are just more limited in their worldview when it comes to the shipping, and that is unfortunate for them. But it's fun to ship a lot of characters with a lot of different other characters. And I don't get super invested in most ships. I just generally I feel neutral to positive or neutral to negative, but I enjoy the wide variety of possibilities that a canon such as Haikyuu offers. And now back to this illustration that I was working on for some time. As you can see now, I am coloring, and while I am coloring it, I was putting down essentially local colors, or colors I think would be close to accurate in a neutral fluorescent lighting situation. And then I added shading that I thought would make it a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting, and after that I started messing around with filters, which is always well, not always, but very often that is the final step of my coloring process, is to see if I can't make the colors more exciting and interesting by adjusting the hue, value, and saturation. My go-to hack, I guess, for a drawing like this is to lower the brightness and raise the saturation to make it seem warmer and like darker and I guess a little bit more romantic. And I made up several variations of this kind of coloring filter adjustment, and I sent all those variations to my friend for approval and had her pick one, and she picked one, and I made the adjustments, and then I sent my friend the final drawing, and so we finished this commission. Okay, so I've recorded several other videos of me working on different drawings, and I intend to record narration for them at some point in the future. And I also have plans for videos about comics that I'm reading that I will be eventually making. I tried to make a playlist video, but maybe someday I will make another playlist that is not copyrighted in such a way and can be viewable by other people. Probably not for a while until like the hurt of the band playlist wears off, but it's a possibility. And I hope you enjoy. Also, speaking of commissions, I mentioned that this was a drawing that was commissioned for me. I'm always open for commissions. I have a very fast turnaround, and if you would like to see your ships drawn in a style similar to this one, please contact me. Thank you. And that was Speedpaint. Thank you very much. I am Smetia, and this was my miscellaneous melange.